On the eve of Throne Liberty's big public test for Amazon Game Studios' version of NCSoft's 12-year in the making tentpole MMO, they revealed details on one of the parts of the MMOs that we've all been the most concerned about: monetization. Throne and Liberty is a AAA free-to-play tab target MMO that was once imagined as a sequel to Lineage 1 and 2, but was transformed into its own game with its own IP in that lengthy development process, and shifted from a isometric view to the game we have now, which can be isometric, but it's also much more personal. They even went as far as changing things like combat to make it a bit more active, and got rid of things that everyone hated, like auto combat for this Amazon Game Studio, and even for the Korean release. For a little background on that release, the Korean version of Throne and Liberty, which launched on the tail end of December, hasn't done very well according to NCSoft's own investor calls, and it was already pretty heavily monetized. There was hope that with all of this change and the struggles out of the gate for the MMO in Korea, that this ostensibly being the largest MMO launch of 2024, Amazon Game Studios would swoop in and change something else, change some of the monetization model. And they released a lengthy blog post explaining their monetization as it will be at launch, which has since been covered by other media outlets like MMORPG.com and Massively, which I have linked down below. But the question is, did they change enough, or really anything? And sadly, how is that going to impact things going forward? Because this monetization is pretty fucking wild. Right off the bat, we start with 3 different currencies. But it's not quite as bad as it seems, even if I'm immediately skeptical when I see stuff like this. The 3 currencies are Solient, which is earned in-game. It's a pretty standard thing. It'll be used for your in-game stuff. Ornamental coins, which are earned through the free track of the battle pass, as well as events and other activities being things like collecting lore books, which, honestly, collecting in-game lore and getting rewarded for it actually sounds pretty cool. They'll also be earnable through some Twitch drops, which isn't exactly surprising given Amazon's drive with Lost Ark and New World to really push to Twitch, a platform which also just happens to be, owned by Amazon, and I stream on it, so if you want to come watch me stream, it's twitch.tv/redbeardflint. That was a terrible sales pitch. I do stupid shit. Oh, shut up! So I found a trap.
What happened?
I found a trap. But then we get to the third currency, Lucent, the real money currency. Hang on to that one. Hang on to this third currency, because it deserves its own discussion of what it is. And it's a lot. Like I was saying, Solient is going to be used for your regular in-game activities, like buying things from NPC vendors. Key note there, NPC vendors. Crafting and things like that. And crafting is a very important part of Throne and Liberty, as it's kind of how you upgrade your character in a lot of ways. I played a little bit of the game, and that's what I experienced, was crafting was a big part of it. Ornamental coins are used to spend on special shop cosmetics and progression items. Unfortunately, in the blog post, it was not explained what these progression items actually are. Though it is repeated somewhere else as progression items in the leveling pass, which we'll get to in a sec, that like a progression item, so maybe it's to do with stuff like experience bonuses or something like that. I have no idea, we'll just have to wait and see. And we'll get to see pretty soon because the beta test is imminent. But now let's circle back around to the Lucent, because it's a lot, like I was saying. And it's wild, and I really hope that this does not become the norm. Lucent is the in-game currency that is purchasable with real money, and it's tied to a key function of the game that I haven't seen anywhere else: the auction house. Lucent isn't just purchased through real money though, it's also earned through specific PvP events like castle sieges and taxes. But the primary way to earn it seems to be through the auction house. An auction house to buy and sell things in-game. An auction house that is going to be using real money to make those purchases. An auction house where the origination point of the currency is essentially going to be from that real money. Except, of course, the little bits that come from PvP events, which we don't really know how much that's gonna be. And you'll see here, there's actually some games out there that have a very similar structure. This just adds some extra steps while taking away some others. But first, let's hear in Amazon's own words what this means. The auction house is the hub for the player-driven economy within Throne and Liberty, where players can trade items and gear with each other. The economy in Throne and Liberty is a little different from other MMOs. Trades on the auction house use Lucent. The auction house allows players to earn Lucent without spending any real money. Lucent earned through the auction house can be spent on any purchase in-game that requires Lucent. Paid and earned Lucent can be spent in the same way. We would like to note that the auction house is a work in progress. You may see iterations on the in-game economy as we work with NCSoft to refine the systems. So it sounds like even Amazon is kind of hedging their bets on this one because maybe they thought that, yeah, this is probably a bad idea in some ways, but they specifically mentioned with NCSoft, so I would go as far as to say that maybe this is an NCSoft thing that they want, and Amazon was like, money. So they're like, okay, I'll take money. But my thoughts on this, it's kind of fucking weird. I don't see this as a win for players in any way. The MMOs that I was referring to is basically, this sounds like the WoW token in World of Warcraft or the Chrono in EverQuest, just with a couple extra steps. Both of those are technically things that can be earned through in-game currency. You can buy them through in-game currency, through an economy of players, right? If you're a player in EverQuest and you buy a Chrono from another player, well, the origination point of that Chrono is $17 from the online shop. For the WoW token, it's a similar kind of thing. The origination point is the sale of game time. You can pay in-game gold for said tokens. It's basically a way to legitimize RMT or real money transactions within the game itself. And having the games launch with that is something that makes me very, very nervous. And why I say that I really hope that this isn't the thing. But just how much of an impact is this going to make with the ability to basically buy things with real money from other players? How they have kind of interwoven the real money purchase into the actual economics of the game in a way that is, you cannot extricate it. This is not something that you can take out. This is part of the game. It is a key pillar of the game, unless they decided to get rid of the Lucent currency, which they're obviously not going to. You aren't technically paying real money to buy gear. Like, the gear isn't on the shop and you pay the money and then you buy it. Instead, the gear is on the auction house, you pay the real money and then you buy the gear on the auction house. It's pay, in that sense, it is pay to win. Granted, the gear that you're getting is gear that you can get elsewhere, but it's still, in that sense, pay to win, at least as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, well, let me know in the comments if you think this, just hearing it from this side, do you think it's pay to win or not? There is more to it than this, because there's a breakdown from Amazon of what can and cannot be bought and sold on the auction house, and it seems like AGS has at least tried in some ways to limit it, but it still feels off. Things like your weapon mastery can't be purchased through the auction house, nor can skills or gear score and traits. However, those gear score and traits involve crafting, which uses items that are roughly 50-50. Half of them are going to be available on the auction house, half of them are not. So basically, you want to upgrade your gear, you're going to be able to buy one half of the things you need from the auction house, and the other half you'll have to actually play the game. So at least in that sense, they are encouraging you to play the game, but they are giving you a shortcut to not play the game by paying money and gaining power. And all of this gets a lot worse when you're considering this is a game that is still pushing PvP, to the point where PvP may be a way to get said paid currency, because the paid currency is a reward from PvP, and I can't see this going well. Yeah, but that's not all. There's more to it, because there's also a battle pass in this free-to-play MMO. And a leveling pass, which, yes, they actually have two different passes. The leveling pass, as far as I could tell, is basically the kind of things that you would normally expect from an MMORPG like this, where, oh, I leveled up to level 5, here's a gift. The only difference is, it's a paid gift. That leveling path is from level 1 to 50, and one of the changes that AGS has apparently made with that from the NCSoft version of this game is that it is lowering the price, and they actually went ahead and made it purchasable with Lucent, I guess. Really just doubling and tripling down on Lucent. Real money paid currency. For the Battle Pass, which has free and premium tracks, there is a monthly purchase per character and includes a combination of aesthetic awards, crafting materials, items, and in-game currency. AGS has done the following to kind of mitigate this battle pass. They've added additional cosmetics, reduced the price, and added the ability to buy it with the Lucent. Shocking, right? Added additional battle pass shop points for the free track and removed premium only quests and rewards, granting players the same amount of battle pass experience on free or premium. I don't know how this is all going to work or function. A lot of it depends on how it's actually implemented in long term, how much power is gained and how costly it is. But if I was looking at this game as a long-term game, an MMORPG, that I was thinking I'm going to spend the next 1 to 2 years in this game and enjoy myself, I would be concerned about that top end. I don't think it's going to be a big deal for lower end play. I think it's going to be fine. I think you can jump in. If you want to just play Throne and Liberty for its story and just enjoy that, go for it. But I think long term, this is going to kind of be like what Lost Ark was. For long term, there was an issue with monetization. Where long term, there was an issue with monetization. I think that this is just... it's not gonna be great, I don't think. I'm very, very nervous about this, not necessarily for what it means for Throne and Liberty, but what it means for MMORPGs as a whole. I'm kind of worried what would happen if this is successful, if this idea of interweaving RMT and adding an extra little step to buying your gear becomes a norm. So, but those are just my thoughts, right? That's my thoughts on this, what I see as a pretty wild Throne and Liberty monetization scheme. What do you think, though? Do you think this is bad? Am I overreacting? Or, is it fine? Is it just, par for the course? Or will it not impact things all that much? Let us know down in the comment section below. My name is Redbeard Flynn. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to know a bit more about what Throne and Liberty is, I covered that in this video right here. Thank you so much.